So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today we're talking about the brand new album after almost a decade from Job for a Cowboy, and it's called Moon Healer. And the last time that we listened to Job for a Cowboy was back in 2014 when they did Sun Eater, and on that album, the band went into more of a prog death tech territory, and I fucking love that record. And after that, they went away. Like, they gave us that amazing album, and then like, okay, see you guys. And we were like, no, Job for a Cowboy, we need you. Who's going to do the job? So after almost 10 years, a decade, last year they released a single out of the blue, and it was called The Agony Seeping Storm. And I remember listening when I first got the notice that there was a new Job for a Cowboy song. I was like very excited. I was like, my God, I haven't listened to this band in such a long time, and I love their last record. So I was wondering, will this be as great or better than what they did with Sun Eater? And that first track, The Agony Seeping Storm, it's full of, great technical death metal. The bass is great. The drumming is great. This is the first time that we have the drummer who was their new drummer, but he wasn't on the record. And he did a great job on this album as well. So The Agony Seeping Storm really set the tone for what the album was going to become. So I really enjoyed that. And Naveen Copperwise being on this album gives it a new feeling, since it's the newest drummer that he hadn't been on a record. So I had high hopes for that. And then, like a month and a half ago, I got the promo for this. And boy, I was so fucking excited. It felt like Christmas fucking morning. I was like, yes, I want to listen to it. And I remember I even posted something on the page that said, like, you guys get prepared for this record because it's gonna be good. And yes, this is 8 tracks, and I can say that, this isn't Sun Eater Part 2. This is its own thing, even though Moon Healer and Sun Eater could go along like 2 albums that it would be like a interesting, because both albums like really have like similar themes, only that Sun Eater is more in a general way of life, of having to do with, drugs and hallucinogenics, but Moon Healer is more introspective, and it's through the perspective of one man. So it's a friend of the band's that got lost in hallucinogenics and drugs, and just went on a trip of hallucinogenics, to get to know himself, but kind of lost himself in the process. So this is a very interesting subject matter to tackle on an album, and I think Job for a Cowboy does it in a way that is respectful and interesting at the same time. So yeah, this is 8 tracks, and yeah, this is a very technical record. I think they outdone themselves with this one. I thought it couldn't be done. I thought that they couldn't top Sun Eater, but somehow they fucking did with this record. This is an amazing record, and both of them, I would love to see them being played both back to back. That would be amazing. So then they gave you Beyond the Chemical Doorway, which opens the album. And I like it how they mix that technical death metal with that psychedelic feel. Especially the bass on this album really takes you places. It's like boom, boom, like very spacey, very trippy. I talked to Nick Chins, an interview for this album, and I got a lot about his influence, and I think a lot of like his bass techniques and stuff. I don't know why. We talked about Jaco Pastorius. And it's got that feel that, even though it's technical and trippy, it goes with the music for Job for a Cowboy, because the music is very like abrasive and hard at times. But on top of that, Johnny Davey with the vocals does a great job. I think right now he's the best singer in this type of death metal. My favorite was Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder. But sadly, he's gone. But I think Johnny right now is at the top of the list for me. when it comes to the vocal delivery and the way he enunciates and still sounds menacing. It's great. And the lyrics on this album, the subject matter is pretty interesting. You never get dull with the music on this record. And you have songs like The Forever Rot that ends the album. And that one is a longer track at 6:41. And on that one, the music really complements the lyrics because it's the main character having abused hallucinogenics so much that he gets lost in his own mind. His mind is forever rot. And how they play it musically, it really sounds like the brain like melting and rotting, and they capture that perfectly. Other tracks that really stand out to me, the song Gave Me Ashes So I Sought Out the Moon. That one is in the middle of the album, and the drumming is so great. Again, this is an album that, even though it's a technical death metal record, it doesn't rely on every song being like super fast. It takes its time, but it takes its time. Not that it's slow, but it's not like technically like super fast. So I think that builds for the atmosphere that this record is trying to create. I also love some of the solos on this record. For example, I think Into the Crystalline Crypts and Grinding Wheels of Orphanum have some great solos on it, which I think they're great. The guitarists, Al Glassman and Tony Sanicandro, do a great job both on guitars as well. And another track that I really enjoyed was A Sorrow-Filled Moon. I found that song was more atmospheric and more slow, and I could feel like the desperation of the character in that song. How the sorrow, you kind of feel like sad, but also you feel like you are on this trip with this character and you want to get out, but you can't. So in a nutshell, this is a great record. It's the comeback of the fucking year. Like, what a comeback. Who would have thought that after almost 10 years this band would be back and at the top of their games? Sometimes when bands take a long hiatus and they say they're back, you are like, will this live up to their previous material, or will this be subpar? But you know what? With Job for a Cowboy, amazing record. I was blown away with this record. I think that if you're going to take your time, come with this, because this is just top notch, and it's an album that I'm sure is gonna be on a lot of people like talking points, because the music is great, the lyrics are great, and it sounds like a band that never missed a beat. This is just the continuation of Sun Eater. So yeah, Moon Healer, do not sleep on this record. And if you want to know more about this record, I had a great interview with Nick Shins, the bass player for this record, and we talk about the record process, which songs he thinks are the best, and also a lot of the meanings on some of the songs. So it's pretty interesting as well. And an album is great when my friend, the Metal Tris, curses, because he usually doesn't curse because he's very polite. So when I saw his review, I'm like, yeah, it's good if he curses. So please, people, listen to this Job for a Cowboy, because this is the comeback record that we all wanted. Like, I'm so glad that Job for a Cowboy is back and kicking ass. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think are the best tracks from this album? Comment. And what do you think about, Job for a Cowboy being back after almost 10 years? And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to subscribe, and do not forget to give me a like. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourselves. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.